basically what you were saying earlier is, in a nutshell, you're obsessed and passionate about numbers and data and this stuff. And often with now AI coming out and these large language models and a whole bunch of stuff happening now, a lot of people are like, you should know how to code, or you should be this or that. I would go on the offense and say, hey, you know what? I think there's huge or immense potential and value in understanding and being able to understand large numbers data, or even how to use the tools to interpret that data. So what are number one, where do you maybe now see the role of what you do moving forward? One, and I think you touched on that. But two is how somebody who's not exposed to this could get into it. Or the other sort of branch to this sort of whole idea being, what is the most common and obvious mistakes people make when it comes to this stuff?
I think, first of all, in terms of getting into a career in data analytics, whatever you want to call it, I think studying it in school is the place to start. And I would start with fundamental statistics. A real grounding in true data analysis means understanding what data is, understanding what frequency distributions are, understanding what descriptive statistics are, understanding the principles of sampling and the differences in different types of errors. And then all the various techniques like regression and mixing models and all of that sort of thing. Before you get into AI and machine learning, one of the problems with machine learning is you often don't know how to interpret the findings because the computer is taking your mind away and you don't know what to do with it. So I think a real grounding in the basics. And something like regression alone, people have spent their lives studying it. It's once you do a bunch of different regressions on data, you realize that regression is really tricky. And and here's the other thing I would say, just to your question's a good one. What are the things that go wrong? I think one of the things that goes wrong often is people have no theory of what's going on in the world. And without a theory of what's going on in the world, it may be that you're finding spurious correlations. I'm sure you've visited those websites that show the number of deaths in the United States correlates very highly with the sale of ice cream or something. I don't know. But you got to have some theory of what's going on to guide the analysis and the interpretation. And that's what I think a background in social science can really help, because you begin, or economic, any field really, but any scientific field, but you got to have a theory of what's going on. Einstein, even 100 years ago, 120 years ago, people are still confirming his theories with facts. They're still finding facts and concluding that, yep, he was right about this too. Now, not everything, but theory is really important. And a lot of people don't realize that.
I think that's also something we hear constantly in our consulting space or in advertising or marketing specifically, is you should have a point of view. Even that it's like a strong opinion held loosely. You start with a point of view, an opinion, whether that's to do with your brand positioning, that this is, or who that audience is that you want to talk to.